Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us today, the celebration of the life of Reverend C.D. Thornton. Now, I've never called him C.D. Thornton to his face. It's always Pawpaw. That's who he is. I've been tasked with just sharing the view of Pawpaw through his grandchildren's eyes. There's a couple of things that everybody notices about C.D. Thornton, and I just want to share those with you. I know I've seen these on Facebook, and so just obvious things about Pawpaw. Number one thing about Pawpaw, the striking thing about him, is that he has incredible hair. White hair, the right shade of white, not the yellowish white, but perfectly white hair. Always perfectly combed, styled, trimmed by Randy Davis. Great hair, great hair. Second thing that you notice about Pawpaw is that, man, he could dress. He always said that he dressed himself, but I don't know. I think Mama had to help him, because there's no man that is able to wear suits like that, color coordinated like that, knowing exactly when to wear a pocket square, exactly when to wear a tie, when not to wear a tie, the right socks and the right shoes, all of that perfect all of the time. Mama had to help him. Incredible dresser. When you walked into a room, you knew when C.D. Thornton was there. See, he was just a man. The third thing about C.D. Thornton is that you knew whenever he drove up, he was going to be driving up in a nice car. He was going to have a nice car. They tell me that he didn't always have nice cars, but I knew him. He was either driving a nice Chevy or he was driving a Cadillac or a Lincoln. And he was going to be arriving in style with his hair done and dressed right. He could be mowing the grass and look like he stepped out of a department store. Always together. The fourth thing that everybody knew about CD is, that man can preach. He was a preacher of preachers. He preached conferences and he preached just incredible messages, and I was blessed to be able to hear all of those just growing up. He had the perfect combination of knowing when to tell stories, when to make people laugh, when to exhort, when to speak with conviction and really bring a church to the place where they needed to be. He was an incredible preacher. The fifth thing was that he was a great pastor. Incredible pastor. Loved people. Visited people at their homes and in hospitals. And I remember him going on vacation and someone calling and with a toothache, and him feeling like it was his duty to turn off of vacation and come back home to be with the saints. Loved people. Incredible shepherd. That's kind of the view of the masses, what everybody thinks of when they think of C.D. Thornton. And I saw all of those things. I admire all of those things. But I got to see something even greater. I got to see the C.D. Thornton that nobody else got to see. I saw him through the eyes of a grandchild. I remember all the family getting together for any kind of occasion. Didn't matter if it was they called a special Tuesday, and we all went to eat at Mama and Papa's house. Just because it was Tuesday, because he wanted to see his grandkids. I remember him always taking time. Each of us, we felt like we were the favorite one of the bunch because he had a special relationship with each of us. Remember him taking me out in the barn and me asking him 1,000,001 questions, and him showing me and teaching me all of these different things. And I remember him just, getting on his hands and knees and playing with the kids and playing with my kids. I got to see the C.D. Thornton that nobody got to see. Because while he was a great pastor and a preacher and a sharp dresser and knew how to do all these great things, he was an even greater grandfather. I got some stories. There was three of us. It was me, Brandon, and Donnie. And man, we got into some trouble. We were always finding something to do, something, that would just drive Pawpaw crazy. And we could go on and on about stories about that. But I loved being his grandchild. It was Tuesday night, and we were all standing around Pawpaw, and we were singing, and we were talking, and we were saying our goodbyes. And the first row was the children. It was Carol and Becky and TC and Curtis, and they were right around him. Momo was right there, and they were crying. And then one of the daughters turned and looked at us, and because on the second row it was all the grandchildren, and she turned and looked at us and said, with tears in her eyes, "I think y'all loved him just as much as we did." And like, yeah, because I've always wanted to be like Pawpaw. I wish I had hair like Pawpaw. I hope I can dress like him. I want to drive nice cars like him. I want to preach like him. I want to be a pastor like him. When it was all said and done, you know what I want more than anything? I want to be just like him as a father and a grandfather. I want to be the man who in his last days, his family is all around him, that there would no place they would rather be than at his feet. That's the life of C.D. Thornton. And that's what I think about whenever I see him. A man whose family is everything, and he's everything to his family. One story, and I'm going to be done. I guess we were like 7, 8 years old. I think Donnie's a couple years younger than me and Brandon, but we always kind of got in trouble. And this is a house on White Road, I believe it was. I can't remember, but nice house. And it used to be just, we just think it was hundreds of acres and this so much property. And now we realize we drive by there, it wasn't that big at all, but it was big because it was Pawpaw's house. And the house was there, and then they had the pool in the back, and then beyond that there was a field, and then there was a pond. And in that field beside the barn there was a tractor out there. And we couldn't start the tractor, but we always played by the tractor. And one time we were playing, and I'm not sure, everybody blames it on me because I lose everything, but I don't think it was me. But somehow in our playing, someone lost the key. And we kind of got in some trouble. But the key was never found. I was thinking, he may have never found that tractor key, but he had the key to life. He knew the key to life. And he understood that the key to life is family. He lived his life for family. He lived his life for the Lord. And he knew the key. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for your prayers. We love you, And from the grandchildren, we'd like to say thank you.